Do you guys know it's been February 2021 since you guys last saw me? I know, shame on me. But you know, it's this thing called life, and I went through it. Hello you guys, I am so happy to be here in this very moment with you guys. I'm so happy to be back. I have a lot to tell you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for sharing these vulnerable moments that I've had as to where I've been and my excuse as to why I haven't been uploading and why I haven't been consistent like the way I want. It's called life. Last time you guys saw my face was February 2021. What? Like, that is insane. During that time, I was working at a call center in Arizona. I was just working to pay the bills, to put a roof over my head. Ended up keeping that job. I thought with all the COVID and everything going on, you know, talking to these people, they made me realize that I wanted to be closer to home. Home for me is Alabama, in case you guys didn't know. I ended up moving to Georgia, and I was like, you know, it's quite expensive for me. It's not really in my budget, you know, just to be hopping around. I found a roommate. That was totally not a good idea, because I will explain that in a moment, because that is totally a story. I ended up keeping the job that was in Arizona while I was in Georgia, so that I could still make my monies and that, and eventually I will ease off. The time zone from Arizona, can you imagine working on West Coast time for at least 10 hours a day? No thank you. I had to be centered at my house 24 hours pretty much, because by the time I got off, it was the world was ending on that side of the world, you know, like I had no time at all. I ended up getting COVID. I actually ended up quitting my job because I couldn't do it anymore, and it was truly making me more sick, the fact that I was working on West Coast time, on East Coast time. It really had me jet lagged. I couldn't have a life. I couldn't enjoy life with my friends at the time, and it was just not a good thing for me. The reason why I also wanted to move to Georgia is because I wanted to be closer to home. It was a great idea for, you know, black-owned businesses. Also, the hair industry was just thriving there in Georgia, so I wanted to be a part of that movement, and so I moved out there. I ended up getting sick probably within 3 months of me being there. I was working or planning to work on my own as a hairstylist. As you guys know, I completed cosmetology school. I was working for myself, hustling, trying to introduce myself to new people, letting them know that, hey, I do this, X, Y, and Z, just putting myself out there so that I could have the best opportunities before me. And I also invested money in equipment and products and stuff like that. Like, I was so ready to thrive in this industry and get myself, you know, like I wanted to do whatever it took. I actually got into business with a friend, and that was definitely not a good idea. I'm not gonna speak too much on all these things, and maybe I'll save that for a later story time. But getting into business with your friends, you guys, sometimes it's not a good idea. I really need you to rethink going into business with some of your friends, and I don't know, that was just not a smart move for me. I ended up cutting ties with a couple of people, and I would just say I cut off a lot of people that I felt like was not good for my safe space. It was just not a good energy around me. It was a lot of fakeness, people lying. We just didn't think on the same page. Like, sometimes you have to move on. I have evolved. Still have love for them, but I know they need to get to a better place. Like, I'm proud of your work. I wish you would keep going. There's this one individual that I'm talking about. She was close to me, and we are no longer on talking terms. We had it out the last time, and I just was like, you know what? I'm done. You're not any good for me. Let's talk about dating while all this was going on. The separation is what grew me a lot. I've learned a lot. I'm still growing. I strive to grow every single day and getting to know more about myself and what I can do better for my future husband, for my future children, just the overall picture. Dating was not easy for me. I would see somebody, I would talk to them, I would be over it, I would go out, I would, you know, just try it out, but like it'd be like at a maximum of like 5 days and I'm over it. I'm like annoyed with you. I don't want to see you. You called me too much. Text me weirdly. Like, you don't know how to have a full conversation. It was literally hard. No manners. I couldn't dress. Like, you go through a bunch of clowns. Eventually, that one thing that shines, it might be real. You never know. You might get lucky. It took a minute for me to, you know, say I want to date again, I want to try again. It was very, very hard for me. Also, like, I'm not down to pay for your meal. Some guys really just, you know, want to use you. What are they in it for? We'll get to those topics another day. What are people really in it for when they're dating? Like, what are you getting out of it? When you're dating someone, I am dating for a purpose. Like, I got something I'm trying to do here. I got something I'm trying to move forward with because I have a plan. I have God's plan. Well, I don't know what God's plan is for me, but I'm helping to make route of where I need to go, because faith without works is dead, is what I've always been taught. And I also stand by, because you have to put in the work. Where you want to go, you have no sense of direction. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan. Otherwise, you don't know where to start. You don't. You really don't. And we'll talk about that in another video. Back to Georgia, moving to Georgia. I was in Georgia for about 4 months total after moving there, because I got robbed on my family vacation. Yeah, we went to the beach. It was absolutely amazing. It was so nice. I want to do it all over again, every year, twice a year, 5 times a year if I could. I loved spending every little moment with my family. And then I stayed a little bit longer with my family because my nephew, I got a nephew, guys. I got a nephew. I was actually present. I got 2 little nephews by my little brother, and I wasn't present to see the oldest one. I was out of town and I really didn't get a chance to build that relationship with him, but I got a chance to see this one. So he's my little baby. His name is Little Prince Caden, y'all. That's what I call him. And then there's PJ, Pagel. Those are my 2 little stank pots. That being said, I ended up moving back home with my mom, and that was interesting. No one really wants to ever move back home. Never. Like, I was out of the house at age, what, 22? I have not lived back home since I was 22. I am 32 right now. 2022. So that was a very ugly situation. I was so devastated because I got robbed, and I needed to start it all. I needed to start over. I needed to figure out what was gonna be my next move, where was I gonna go, how I'm gonna get out of this situation. And the good thing is you can always come home. You can always count on mom, or you can always count on your dad, or you know, hopefully somebody you have in your family. You can always count on that person to allow you to rebuild and get yourself back together. And I really needed that. I just didn't feel comfortable being back where I was for a while, so I made a plan. I made a goal, and I made a plan to get out of there, because I was like, this is not the place I want to live. Like, I'm a city girl, Alabama. I mean, I love my home. It'll always be home. I just want something a little bit more fast. Boom. Saved up a bunch of money, got my camera that I have right now. I do have some archives that you guys will be seeing. I just hope my family, other people that are involved in this video, don't kill me because they were my video. Hopefully don't freak out when they see it. So I'm excited about that. In the meantime, I saved up enough money to go ahead and move. I made a plan to move to Houston, Texas.